Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And my question of today is, if you could only pick one crypto to hold for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why? Having said that, the SECV Ripple has been drawn out for so tremendously long, it's starting to feel like the new normal, which is not a good thing. Now, what's in for XRP in the next bullish phase? This is actually a specific subject I see people question all the time. It's basically the question of, okay, right now we might be in a little bit of a bear market. Here's what Mr. Will said. Mr. Will said, Bitcoin's inability to make new highs in 80 plus days is confirmation that the bull market is over. Never in any bull market is Bitcoin's entire history have it corrected for this long, then made new highs in the same year. So let me quickly intervene by saying, well, even though something hasn't happened before, doesn't mean it can't happen now. So let's quickly put that up front. Also, let's quickly say that a bull or bear market in the crypto realm is actually quite difficult to spot. With any new market for that matter, it's actually really difficult to pinpoint exactly when there is a bull market and when there is a bear market. A good example of this specific phenomena is the stock to flow model, for example, because if you take a good look at the model, which he posts regularly, you can see that if we look at 2010 to right now, if you look at it from a broader perspective, well, the only two big bear markets, or maybe, a couple, I guess, are right here when we fell down tremendously. I would say one of these big ones, I guess let's say this one's a big bear market, and from this point on forward. But I mean, there's been definitely this I wouldn't consider a bear market, right? Might have been down for a couple of months, but do you consider this a bear market? I don't really think so. I think this, if you have a prolonged period of a couple of years here, 2014 to 2017, basically, again, recouping those years, that's a bear market. And here again, taking about 1.5 years or so to get above. You might call that a bear market. You might also not. I can definitely understand if you wouldn't, though. And it basically follows along with the conclusion that it's really hard to say. Here, however, it was, again, 1 to 3 years, as you can clearly see before we took it out. So I would say we've actually only had two bear markets in the history of Bitcoin, 2014 to 17, and then I guess 2018 to 2021. It kind of depends on how you look at it. This is just talking about when the high was taken out, so to speak, and I would kind of consider that to be a bear market then, right? You should theoretically see it until it switches over to a bull market at some of these points, but I would like to point it out a little bit differently, at least from my perspective. That's a lot more logical. Now, what the conclusion is right there is that I personally think that people right now are only talking about all of this crypto as if it really matters whether or not we're in a bull or bear market. People are always talking about, oh, are we this or we that? What I would like to quickly point out here, it's it's kind of ironical, but I would like to say, do not worry yourself about what the exact market trend is. Why? Because you're not going to find out until in hindsight. We know the current situation for crypto is looking extremely juicy. We know a lot of institutions are getting into it, but it will only be in hindsight that we can point out whether or not this specific downfall period, which in the end of things might look like a really small dent, it can literally be, for example, like this right here, which is already a long period, but it could also be like one of these small dents in the road, right? I mean, look at this. This is, for example, 2020. It might be one of those dents you don't know until afterwards. It's so funny to me. But again, to bring up the point here, the SEC Ripple lawsuit, I personally think, will make us, again, my own personal opinion, will make us a lot of money regardless of the market condition. And that's actually one of the only cryptos which has a 99% chance of doing good regardless of the market condition. Ethereum 2.0 is a good upgrade, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. Chainlink 2.0 is a good upgrade, but it's really something a lot of people don't firmly understand, and it's still going to be heavily dependent on what the current kind of attraction of the market is. If there's not that big a use for smart contracts, Chainlink 2.0, for example, is not that interesting. Why? Well, if there really aren't that many people utilizing it, even though DeFi and Chainlink 2.0 are really one-in-one, if the necessity, no, I should say differently, if the demand for higher risk products or these more difficult to understand products like DeFi is not really there because of the negative market, well, Allah, the coin might not do as prosperous. And for the same fact, Chainlink 2.0 is quite difficult to understand. Bitcoin's upgrade taproot, you might again kind of see that from two sides. You might see that as a specific thing that's going to increase the price, not the other way around. But what I would like to say here is that for a lot of these upgrades, it's really dependent on what the effect is going to be on the market condition. So whether or not we are in a bull or bear run. For XRP, to be honest with you, it really doesn't. Now, I might stay here just quickly that I do believe the coin would do better if we're in a bullish market, but I believe the majority of people know that XRP's buying has been restricted for quite a lot of months, and that also the XRP price has been lower than it should be, basically undervalued, purely because of this lawsuit that is based upon some hypotheticals. Now, if it were to be fixed though, I think regardless of where the market is at, XRP will recoup a lot of losses versus Bitcoin. And so if you're really worried or looking for a bullish phase and all of that stuff, I think you're in the wrong field right here. All we need to wait for is just a perfect / positive settlement. And I don't really see any chance that Ripple's going to let this one slide negatively. And I also don't think the judge is going to buy the SEC story purely because of everything we've been witnessing over the last couple of months. All right, then some news. Global blockchain company IBC Group to close mining operations in China. Guys, if you think all these things are FUD, you're definitely wrong. I just covered this on my 5-minute crypto channel earlier, yesterday or today. I'm not exactly sure when I uploaded it. And one of the things I said on there was basically that they're trying to, or maybe it was actually on, I think it was actually on TikTok, to be honest with you. All right, yes, I have a TikTok. Why? I don't know. I just thought it might be handy. Do I like it? Not yet, not yet. I'm not getting comfortable on the app just quite yet. I definitely feel quite awkward, but it might be, I don't know, it might be something fun. So I don't know. I really hate myself for it, but all right, let me not dig too deep into that one. No. So basically, if you check it out, the TikTok or not, whatever you want to do, it basically talked about what they're not telling you about Bitcoin is the fact that if the mining rate goes down or people are moving from China away, you can only see that stuff as good. Why? Well, if the mining goes down, the hash rate goes down, the difficulty drops. What happens? It get back into equilibrium. If they leave China, people can now stop calling all these centralization pieces of garbage. So in the end of things, all of this stuff is good. They're just trying to fill your head with nonsense. And also, Plan B pointed out that the stock to flow model is being mocked. I would actually like to point out the stock to flow model has actually had multiple outliers to the top side as well. I guess that's not as bad, but he's calling now that some article said the Bitcoin stock to flow model rooted in hard money narrative goes off course. But it's pretty funny. Let's see here. Funny how people claim it's off course at the lower bands and not at the upper bands. That's also true though. One fun fact is that every time it goes to these areas, like for example right here, nobody actually claims like, oh no, we're blah, 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 blah. Nothing. It's only once we hit the bottom of things that it's all of a sudden invalidated, which is indeed pretty funny. Then, by the way, on Binance, there's been a lot of FUD, a lot of uncertainty. I've told you guys before that I'm a little bit sad with the way that Binance has been going about all of this, and I'm taking some of my money out of Binance just as a precaution. But Binance now says they're really disappointed by Barclays' unilateral action to block customers' payments because they basically said that it saw a very big misunderstanding and that the UK here is doing some really fishy stuff. So, it's disappointing to learn that some partners are taking unilateral action to stop servicing Binance users based on what appears to be an inaccurate understanding of events. In one such instance, a partner referred to its users to an FCA notice that was addressed to Binance Markets Limited BML. The company stated that it was taking this action to keep people's money safe. We have always taken the security of our users' money very seriously. In fact, the FCA notice was not about our users' deposit on Binance at all. The FCA notice relates to BML, which is a company incorporated in the UK and regulated by the FCA, Binance Markets Limited. BML is a separate legal entity and does not offer any products or services via Binance.com. If our partners have any concerns, we would welcome a dialogue to discuss, and for related matters, please contact them. We take our compliance obligations very seriously, and we are committed to working collaboratively with regulators to shape policies that protect consumers, encourage innovation, and advance the industry. What I've told you guys before is that with Binance, what I do believe in firmly is that if you had to pick two exchanges, Coinbase is number one and Binance is number two in terms of safety / security. I do believe there's a hack. They're like one of the most proper parties to fix it and so forward and so on. What I'm just not sure of, however, is that they don't have a really formal headquarters. They have a Byzantine structure, which means they have a kind of a spreaded system over 50 countries, and there's not really any central point which you can look towards. And so they really are quite good at evading regulation for that perspective too, and evading all these, difficult questions, which is why I'm a little bit more prone to just kind of or a little bit more inclined to stay away from it. Mostly because I'm also an encourager and always say that you shouldn't put too much of your money into exchanges. Well, I should kind of put my money where my mouth is, right? By taking it out. All right. Then Burning Star says the Bitcoin Maxis BitBoy is hilarious. Acting like he has special infos about XRP and Ripple. Dude, the thing you say now, we know that for many years already. You only saw the light in 2021 and now try to take credit. Y'all were too blind to admit the XP army was right. One fun fact is that there's many people now switching over the last couple of months. BitBoy is a good example of somebody who's now turned bullish on XRP and all of a sudden claims there's a lot of inside info or knows people that know people that know people. No, we talked about this before. BitBoy says that on every single crypto that he knows some big guys have some crazy plans and he knows this, knows that. I'm not really buying the story. Maybe it could be true, but I'm not really buying it. And also, guys, I don't really believe in Ripple Riddlers, specifically not this guy knowing them. But again, that's just me. Do I believe in some of the gematria, some of the, link connections? Yeah. I would say some of the connections that people are putting up there are legitimate and definitely make a lot of sense. But some of the stuff which just makes absolutely no sense, as I've explained before, well, yeah, I can't make any sense out of it, so I'm not really a fan of that. XDC, by the way, I keep seeing you guys in the comment section saying, Dusty, cover more XDC, cover more XDC. The only problem is I don't have proper sources for XDC news just quite yet. Even though it's a crypto that I'm definitely more and more involved with, I don't really have the proper sources. With XRP and just crypto stuff in general, I know where to find it, but this type of stuff, man, I don't know where. So for right now, all I had was that Xinfin Network price analysis, XTC coin bulls excitement spikes with the formation of a cup handle pattern. All I can actually say about it is that the price is actually going, quite proper. Specifically if you compare it to almost any other crypto, it's been getting close to all-time highs, even though the price here on most other cryptos has actually fallen drastically. This crypto has recouped most of the losses here and still is doing proper, which is kind of confusing to me, but I'm happy to be a hodler, I guess. I'm not exactly sure who got me into it, but it's already been months and months and months. I've shared it over on Twitter. I was pretty excited about it. This pattern presents XRP traders with an opportunity to make this move. I don't really buy in all of this. I've told you guys that before. I don't read these articles most of the time. I just think it's a waste of space, waste of time, because they will always change their mind after a couple of hours, couple of days. And then the Fed Chair Jerome Powell met Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong and crypto dad Chris Giancarlo at the time of heightened interest in digital coin trading. Who cares about this either? You might say, oh, but that's such a funny coincidence, or oh, that's so this, that. You know what, guys? Brian Armstrong of Coinbase knows his stuff. They've met with regulators all the time, and the Fed and every entity that's out there wants to know about crypto from the guys that breed it, that bleed it, that breathe it. Brian Armstrong is in there every single day. He knows his stuff around crypto regulation, and they might be working together on some stuff. It's the first public crypto exchange, the biggest one in the U.S. as well. Yeah, obviously. They also have a venture fund. They invest in a lot of crypto projects. These guys know their stuff. And in the end of things, you can't really take too much out of these discussions, except for the fact that they are looking into it, which is, I guess, a good thing. But yeah. All right, guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully, you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video coming out a little bit later today, as there's another one dropping in just a couple of hours.